Hey there gamers, DreamcastGuy here, and today we're talking about Xbox, but in a weird way, this might be the last Xbox video, because last night, a bunch of different leakers started sort of breaking a very big story. There was one, then another, then they all started to verify these different leaks and stuff, but apparently, this is actually the end of Xbox. You know, a couple months back, there was a strange video that popped up from Xbox themselves talking about their partnership for next-gen Xbox, saying instead of waiting for the PlayStation 6, instead of getting outcompeted by the Nintendo Switch 2, they said, we're getting a head start. And essentially what it sounded like is not only is the next Xbox about to enter full-blown development, maybe even production, but the talk was that this next-gen Xbox, it was here to try to be out maybe by next year, maybe by late 2026, late 2027. Well, yesterday, basically every Xbox leaker has come out and said they're not doing a next-gen. They're not doing any more hardware. They're not going to be selling any consoles. They're not going to sell anything. At this point, at best, Xbox is going to continue to sell some games. They're mostly going to pivot to trying to sell you even more ways to buy Candy Crush. And I wish I was joking. They're going to sell you controllers. But at this point, the idea of Xbox as a hardware manufacturer at all, any sort of console, it's over. And I want to talk about this because I'll be honest, this to me is wild. I never thought we would see another day of the Dreamcast. But let's get into it. Hi, hope you're having a great day. And if you could, please give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Now, we're going to go through this bit by bit because it's honestly a lot. The leak is very, very bad. One of the main people that talked about this, and the info is pretty dang verified, is that they're about to just basically clean Xbox out. They're about to do mass firings, more studio closures. It is going to be a bloodbath before the official announcement of we're not doing next gen even gets released. But here's a little bullet point to kind of get us started. So this is all coming from SneakerSO, and we're going to talk more about who this is and why we know this is correct. But essentially, Xbox Next hardware may not happen despite their announcements. More details, more retail stores will pull Xbox from sale. Microsoft is becoming 100% third party. Now, this guy here, SneakerSO, is leaking all sorts of crazy stuff, but I did want to start with a funny rumor, which is that he says that apparently a lot of Xbox fans like the fact that Phil Spencer has a public account. You can actually go to your Xbox and literally find Phil Spencer. You can follow him around. You could run into him in Fallout 76. Well, one of the things that's apparently in this set of leaks is that that's an employee. He's fine with gaming. He's not anti-gaming. He does enjoy gaming it, but to actually make his gamer score look better, to make his player hours look better while he's off doing stuff or he's in meetings and stuff, he actually has employees play his account. So if you look at his account, it's not really, head of Microsoft, Xbox, Phil Spencer holding a controller. But what's funny is that apparently Phil Spencer thought that PlayStation would die. They were not that driven to actually try to succeed this generation because one of the big giant announcements was Horizon Forbidden West. When they were revealing the PS5, they showed Horizon Forbidden West. I like that trailer a lot. A lot of people like that trailer a lot, but it mostly focused on graphics over gameplay. And apparently Phil Spencer, they literally had a party. Literally said, we're going to blow them out of the water with Halo Infinite, a game's reveal that went so badly, it ended up getting delayed by over a year. So that's a funny thing to start with, is just the idea of the ego of Phil Spencer, which I feel like we don't see that much publicly, right? But here's the other thing that a lot of people are discussing. So last week, we got an official announcement from some stores that they're taking stuff off the shelves, that they're going to basically stop selling Xboxes. You're seeing this more and more and more. Sam's Club has now said it. Some other big box retailers have said it. And what's really weird is here on some like EB Games in Australia, when they list the consoles they sell, Xbox is not even on the list of official consoles anymore. It is wild, wild. But here is the big announcement. Here is the whole bullet point list of everything leaked yesterday by SneakerSO. Now, I want to start with who this person is. Essentially, SneakerSO is this guy whose specific knowledge base is hardware manufacturing. He seems to know a guy inside of Microsoft, or maybe a guy inside of Microsoft that knows where stuff is selling, where stuff is shipping. He has been the guy specifically who's been leaking about why they're pulling out of certain regions of the world, or why they're doing these mass firings. And at first, a lot of people were doubtful of these leaks, saying, Sneaker only comes out when bad news happens. Sneaker only does leaks when the bad news is out, when there's blood in the streets. But more people think that maybe he is actually a Microsoft employee, and he's annoyed that he's dealing with all this, that he can't just sell good games, right? Other people have verified this. Pretty much everybody has now verified that this list of leaks, including Tom Warren of InsiderGaming.com, has essentially verified that this list of stuff is true. So first and foremost, another massive wave of layoffs coming Q1 2026. So literally here in maybe the next 4 or 5 months, they're about to do another set of mass firings. The last one was, I think, 3,000 employees, one of the biggest set of layoffs without a studio closure that I have ever heard about. And they said this next one, it is going to be extra bad because while that last set of layoffs was a mix of mostly Xbox, some accounting, and some Microsoft, this one is going to be almost entirely Xbox. The new Xbox hardware went from being a sure thing to now up in the air and maybe might not happen at all. Now, the big pushback I see a couple people saying, and I want to say this is a tiny point, is the idea of, hey, they already signed the contracts, right? The next gen Xbox, they already made an official announcement. They've signed deals with AMD. AMD is making the chipset inside the new system. Now, the reason I don't mind the idea of them backing out, the way this seems sort of verifiable to me, is that there have been other deals that fell through. And right now, the main reason that corporate deals fall through and lead to lawsuits and stuff is when there's a shortage, when you leave somebody high and dry. Whereas right now, honestly, AMD chips are in very, very, very high demand. I bet Microsoft offered them a lot of money to buy, 10 million of these, 20 million of these to mass produce these consoles. And maybe they told AMD, hey, we're not doing it anymore. I don't think AMD would be that mad because those chips are still already essentially proved. Those chips are still going to go other places. Other companies, chips go in everything from your phones to your cars to everything. So I don't think that AMD is going to be that pissed if they say, oh, okay, so these chips are going to China instead of going to Microsoft. They're still going to get sold. AMD is not that butthurt. But here's the next thing. A new Xbox console was supposed to be out by 2026, but this is no longer the case. This is essentially what it sounds like, the big leak inside of what he's talking about. SneakerSO is essentially saying that his rumblings are that everybody was full speed ahead. I have had a chance to talk to Xbox employees before the Series X came out. I actually did a couple leaks of my own, and essentially what I heard is that way, way, way before something is out, obviously they're working on not just the hardware, but the software. Okay, what's the HUD look like? What's the UI? How's the software and operating system inside the console? I think that he is essentially leaking that all those people that were working on the next gen Xbox suddenly don't have a lot to do. Costco no longer selling Xbox is just the beginning. Many more retailers will soon follow. COD is not working on Game Pass financially. If they start taking games out of Game Pass is going to instant collapse. I mean, I feel like the messaging right now is still very much, the best deal in gaming because you get every game on it. As soon as they start saying you get most games, you get some games, I feel like any sort of positive messaging at all about the Xbox Game Pass, it's going to be permanently tarnished. The future of Xbox software is publishing, focused on high-profit titles like COD, World of Warcraft, Minecraft, Forza, and Candy Crush. Can you believe it? Can you even truly imagine that? Now, I'm a big World of Warcraft addict, so I'm glad that World of Warcraft isn't dying because, man, would that ruin my day. I play World of Warcraft literally every week for the last, 7 years. But the idea of them pushing harder on stuff like Candy Crush and Call of Duty, I understand those are the lowest cost, highest profitability, but man, I don't know, just the idea of Microsoft going from, hey, we make everything. Gears of War is the biggest thing ever. Halo is the grand final of first-person shooters. And then going hey, please play Candy Crush. Get your mom addicted to Candy Crush. It's insane to say the least. Cloud gaming is the new home of the Xbox platform. Game Pass to be transitioned to a point of entry subscription into it. More Game Pass prices increases. I'll be honest, I cannot imagine Game Pass getting more expensive. I just can't. I mean, I'm straight up, not being hyperbolic. $30 a month is already the breaking point. I truly cannot imagine more than $30 a month. If you start charging $40 or $50 or $60 a month, I better be getting a Expedition 33 Final Fantasy 17 tier game every single month. Nobody is going to do it. And even then, why would you do that? Because then you're still just renting the games instead of owning them. Releasing all their software on any marketplace that users are willing to buy speculates OEM may end up trying to make hardware for the Xbox brand, but it's very unlikely they'll want to due to the decline of the brand. Now, this is a very, very crucial point. We got a bunch more leaks to go through here, a lot of other people chiming in, a lot of Xbox leakers, but I do think this to me is the nail in the coffin. I do think that gamers are not just smart, gamers are not just online. I do think that once your stuff starts to go in that bad direction, I do truly believe that people don't like to lose, especially gamers, right? And I think that people don't want to be stuck on the losing team. I do think a lot of the reason that these console war videos do so well, the reason I've had so much fun talking about Xbox versus PlayStation versus Nintendo for this last 10 years of making videos, I do think the idea of, hey, it's fun to be on the winning team. We've got the best exclusives. We got the craziest stuff. When people are talking about PC, we got the craziest, biggest graphics. We've got mods. We've got customization. We've got stuff that nobody else has. I feel like as soon as you start to seem like the loser brand, nobody wants to be with you. Nobody wants to be part of the loser brand. And at this point, straight up, Xbox is specifically the loser brand. They don't have any games. They never win Game of the Year. They never win anything. And at this point, they just don't even care. It's clear that they're willing to just give up everything for a 1% share price increase of freaking Microsoft stock. According to extremely reliable Xbox leaker SneakerSO, new hardware might not actually happen despite what they've already announced. He says Microsoft is now 100% third party and the new home of platform will be Xbox Cloud. Oh my God. Now, I want to take a look at these Tim Dog tweets. This guy used to be called X Tim Dog. He changed his name to Super Tim Dog and PS5 Tim Dog. He keeps deleting his account and stuff, so I want to make it a point that I'm going to talk about Tim Dog here and kind of his history of posting. Don't tweet anything to this guy, positive or negative. I think he's having a hard time. Tim Dog is a very, very hardcore Xbox fan, and I mean this in a complimentary fashion. The guy has been there. He has popped achievements. He has bought games. This guy, in my opinion, is like the target consumer. It is a guy with extra income and a lot of passion and likes the brand. But he's given up on Xbox when very clearly Xbox gave up on him. And he has a lot of sources. He has had a chance to talk to a lot of people inside of Microsoft, and he's clearly not taking it well. In fact, he deleted his account for about 3 days, and he came back last night to essentially verify a lot of these leaks. Xbox is out of hardware. Sorry, guys. I love the Xbox community and everyone who made it special. I came back because of the news. Xbox is not selling well, but it's probably going to happen in a few things now. Layoffs still coming. Xbox hardware is now just PC, which is not a big shock. Xbox going full third party. It's not going to be fun to talk about Xbox anymore because of no hardware. And I think this is interesting. The whole idea of the console war requires you to have a console, right? You know, I do think that once they started pushing Game Pass super duper hard, the conversation sort of broke down because it's not PlayStation Plus versus Game Pass. I feel like that's a moot point. At this point, a lot of people just get PlayStation Plus for the required minimum essential online play, cloud saves, whereas the push of Xbox has been, hey, we are Game Pass. Game Pass will strangle out the rest of the industry by being the Netflix of gaming. And at this point, with no Xbox hardware push, there is no console war. GTA 6 will really only help the PS5 and the PS5 Pro and then the PS6. Missed opportunity in a way here, but hardware is now PC. It is wild that honestly, they just gave up so hard. I wanted to end with this tweet here by Peter Ovo. This guy's actually sent me a lot of mean tweets. He calls me ugly a lot, which is correct. I know I'm ugly, but this guy has sent me hundreds and hundreds of mean tweets. And I'm not saying that because you got to insult him. You know, who cares? Do whatever you want. It's Twitter. I do suck. Tell me I suck. I don't care. But my point is the fact that I think it's interesting watching him having a moment of reflection on how bad this sucks. This guy, Peter, he very much likes the Xbox. I think a lot of times when he said mean stuff to me, it's because I have spent a lot of time declaring that this day would come. A lot of people do not like the fact that I like that quote, people get upset if you're right too early. I've been calling the downfall of Xbox now very clearly step by step for the last 5 years. And it sucks the day is finally here, but Xbox as a brand has collapsed. In February 2024, I was so angry because I knew this would be the end result. Sad to see the Xbox console die. You are a true Xbox fan. The day Xbox existence fades away. This is it, man. I'm just shocked that it really has all come to this end, that it has really just collapsed. Discount signs and quiet cancellations is the sad end of Xbox. I don't think they can make a comeback. I don't think that Xbox games are going to be as profitable when they go full third party, just putting them on PC directly, putting them onto PlayStation directly. But I do hope that some of it still exists. I've never really been a big Forza fan. I think the Forza games are great. I don't know, something about them, they're just not my cup of tea. I like Gran Turismo a bit, but even then, we get one Gran Turismo over 5 years or something like that. But I don't know. I'm in a spot where I want the best for Xbox because at this point, it's about to be just a slaughter. And I hope that some people come out in the green. I hope that they're still able to release some passion projects. Because if they start shutting down id and Double Fine, there's talks of them just eating a bunch of studios that are less profitable or have less production schedules. This is the end. I think empirically, objectively, measurably, this is the end. There is no Xbox. Now, I guess the real focus is how lazy does PlayStation get? When PlayStation becomes the default next-gen console, how expensive do they make it? How crappy do they make it? How much do they really push our buttons? I guess we're going to find out the hard way. These have been some off-the-cuff thoughts. How do you feel about the future of Xbox? I guess now that it doesn't exist, tell me your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and please keep dreaming. Can you believe that I'm filming this at 7 a.m.? You know what's crazy? The fun part of being an old man, last night was Saturday night. Of course, I didn't go out because I'm 40 years old. Instead, I went to bed early. I played a Final Fantasy Tactics pretty much until I couldn't keep my eyes open, and I woke up bright and early with the sun. I like being an old gamer, man. You game when you want. You edit when you want. I go to the gym at 5 a.m. sometimes. It's great. I don't know. People that act like getting old sucks. Honestly, I feel like the older I get, the more I enjoy gaming, the more I enjoy this job, the more I enjoy just chilling, right? Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.